तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu series, which is going on as part of the Bhakti Shastri. Especially we are discussing the second wave of the Eastern Division, which is Sadhana Bhakti. The first wave is Samanya Bhakti. The second wave is Sadhana Bhakti. The third wave is Bhava Bhakti. And the fourth wave is Prema Bhakti. So second wave is quite a exhaustive part of our Bhakti Shastri study, and we began this just it's just four sessions now. Today is the fourth session. The first wave we had around 12 classes. Now in the first wave we saw the definition of Sadhana Bhakti, then we saw the definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, the results of Vaidhi Bhakti. And in yesterday's class, we were discussing the qualification for Vaidhi Bhakti. So what is the adhikar for practicing Vaidhi Bhakti? So anyone would like to raise their hand and tell what are the three important qualifications which were discussed in some of the verses by Rupa Goswami and also some references what he gave also. What are the qualifications for those who are qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? Anyone would like to raise their hand and tell? This is yesterday's discussion. Can raise your hands and tell us what are the three basic qualifications required. One chat box answer is typed, which is quite correct, but it requires a little more elaboration. I guess most of the devotees were there in yesterday's discussion. Most important, Rupa Goswami says, Jata Shraddha. There has to be faith in bhakti, in hearing my pastimes. And that comes because of the previous impressions which one is having, because of the association of pure devotees. Yes, association of pure devotees. And na nirvinno, na atisakta. Neither too attached to sense enjoyment, nor too detached from this material world. If he is attached to sense enjoyment, then he is qualified for the path of karma kanda. If he is too detached, he is qualified for Gyan Yoga. So the bhakti is the in-between path. So yesterday we saw the definition of qualification for Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. The qualification, we had a long discussion. Yes, qualification for Vaidhi. Jata Shraddha and Nati Sakto Na Vairagya. And he quotes from the Uddhav Gita also this, we saw this. And then what are the types of persons qualified? And here we discuss there is Uttama, Madhyam and Kanishta. So what is the Uttam's qualification? What is the Madhyam's qualification? And what's the Kanishta qualification is also what we discussed yesterday. Now regarding these three adhikaris, Uttama, Kanishta and Madhyama, we are going to discuss these terminologies. The terminology is what is Rupa Goswami using in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is quite different what is there in Bhagavatam or in Chaitanya Charitamrit. So every term, especially in Sanskrit, has to be understood in the context. And the meaning of the term is based on the text as well as the context, where the text is and in what context it is spoken. Based on that, the meanings will be there. And this is a quite elaborate science in Sanskrit. At least we are not trained in Sanskrit, but at least now we should understand that the meaning of the terms will depend on the text where it is coming and in the context what it is spoken. So that's why the term might be the same in the verse, but it can have different shades of meanings. It's a very, very vast science in Sanskrit. So let us understand these terminologies, Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari and Uttam Adhikari. Now I am giving a general understanding of the terms Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama based on the 9 stages of bhakti: Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava and Prema. Now here very carefully, and because you'll have to answer now. Now generally based on the 9 stages, Kanishta Adhikari is somewhere from Shraddha to Bhajan Kriya. The Madhyam is also in between Bhajan Kriya and Anarth Nivritti all the way up till Asakti. It's quite clear, Madhyama. And the Uttam Adhikari is Bhava and Prema. So this is how generally we classify the Kanishta, Madhyam and the Uttam based on the 9 stages. There are also some terms like the Kanishta Madhyama. The Kanishta Madhyama. The Kanishta Madhyama is that he is in the higher stages of Kanishta Adhikari and in the beginning stages of Madhyama Adhikari. That means he has done his Bhajan Kriya up till a long period and is almost crossing the stage of Anarth Nivritti. Then there is a term called as Madhyama Madhyama. That means he is in the Madhyama Adhikari stage but in between. So exactly Nishta is the stage where one is called as a Madhyam Madhyam. And you can see there are 4 levels down, 4 levels up. Nishta is in between. So is a Madhyama Madhyama. Then there is a Madhyama Uttama, who is not at the stage of Bhava, but at the last stages of Asakti. In between Asakti and Bhava, someone can be in the Madhyam Madhyam. Uttamadhikari is Bhava and Prema. Bhava stages and Prema. Now, these are the terms, and there are also something called as Kanishta Uttama, Madhyama Uttama, and Uttama Uttama. How many of you have heard these terms? Kanishta Uttama, Madhyama Uttama, and Uttama Uttama. How many of you have heard it? Raise your hands. Okay, there is only one. Okay, let us ask. Okay, Kalyani Mataji, what is the Kanishta Madhyama, Madhyam Madhyama, and Uttam Uttama?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Yes.
Prabhuji, that Kanishta Uttama means, matlab, there is the stages where, matlab, Uttama means where, matlab, jahan par, matlab, he sees each and every person as a part and parcel of Lord. तो मतलब वो कहीं किसी चीज में वो डिफरेंस he doesn't differentiate नहीं करते हैं.
That is in the general sense mentioned in the Bhagavatam that, that is the qualification of Uttamadhikari.
Okay.
That is mentioned. So, Jeev Goswami gives some understanding of who are the Kanishta Uttama, Madhyama Uttama, and Uttam Uttam. Of course, Uttamadhikari, first thing you have to understand that they are at a very, very elevated stage of Bhava and Prema. That's the first thing you have to understand. Kanishta Madhyama, Jeev Goswami explains, there are two criterias, Gunatita, Swarup Siddha. Gunatita means one who has transcended the modes. Swarup Siddha means one who has realized his eternal form, Swarup Siddha. So, Kanishta Uttama, he says, one who is not Swarup Siddha and not Gunatita also. So, he gives the example of one whose both the feet are in the material world, but his eyes are fixed on the spiritual world. He's quite elevated. He is like a Kanishta Uttama. Then Madhyama Uttama, he says, is either Gunatita or Sarup Siddha. And it means that one leg is in the material world, other leg is in the spiritual world. That is, the Uttama Madhyama. Uttama Madhyama. Then there is the Uttam Uttam. Uttam Uttam is one who is Gunatit also and who is Swarup Siddha also. One who has transcended the three modes and one who is in Rasa with Krishna. He has understood his Swarup and he is already in relationship with Krishna. So these Uttama Uttama are very, very rare souls who come in this material world. Srila Prabhupada is one such, Satyaraj Das Adhikari mentions. So like that, these Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari, these terms can be defined based on different angles. Now, from the 9 stages, we are saying Kanishta is from Shraddha to Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti to Asakti is Madhyama, and Uttamadhikari is Bhava and Prema. But Raghunath Das Goswami, in one of his works, Manashiksha, he gives a different understanding of who is a Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. So there's a beautiful verse, which is the first verse of Manashiksha. Guru Goshte Goshtaleshu Sujane Bhusuragane. I'll not recite the other part of the verse because the first line is important. So he says that one should develop deep attachment to Guru. Guru means the spiritual masters, both the Siksha and the Diksha Gurus. Goshte, one should develop attachment to Goshta. Goshta refers to Vrindavan. Goshtaleshu. Goshtaleshu means those who reside there. That is the pure Brajbasis. Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu, Sujane. Sujane, he says, are the other Vaishnavas who are not belonging to the Gaudiya Sampradaya, like the Sri Sampradaya Sannyasis or the Madhva Sampradaya Sannyasis. So they are Sujane. And Bhusura Gane. Who are actually the Bhusura? The Bhusura are the Brahmanas who follow the Varnashram, who are also residing in Vraja. So Raghunath Das Goswami says, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his commentary mentions that Goshtaleshu, the pure Brajbasis who are in pure love with Krishna, they are the Uttamadhikaris. And the Sujane are the other sannyasis or other devotees They are all devotees of Krishna or Vishnu, but they are belonging to the other sampradaya, like the Shri Sampradaya, Madhya Sampradaya, or the Pushti Marg. They are the Madhyamadhikaris. And the Brahmanas who follow Varnashram, who are residing in Braj, who are more attached to their Varnashram duties rather than pure devotional service, they are the Kanishtadhikaris. So the Kanishtadhikari or the Madhyamadhikari or the Uttamadhikari term is not having a fixed meaning. It will change based on the text and the context. So this is my point. So here this general definition is there based on the 9 stages, and then there are this other definitions you can have, and within Uttamadhikari I mentioned Kanishthuttam, Madhyamuttam, Uttamuttam. Now my question is, there are the NOD terms for the 3 adhikaris, Uttama, Kanishta and Madhyam. Now think carefully, take half a minute and tell me where does the Uttama fit among these 9 stages of bhakti? Where does the Madhyama fit and where does the Kanishta fit? And please remember and hear attentively, these are all adhikaris who are qualified to practice Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Think about it. Take a minute and raise your hands who would like to answer. Yes, who would like to answer? Rupa Goswami has used these terms, Kanishta, Uttama, Madhyama, who can practice Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Now, where these 3 adhikaris who are qualified to practice Vaidhi bhakti, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, fit in the 9 stages? I hope the question is clear.
No, Prabhuji. Like it is already you mentioned in the chat, no?
No, that is what you are not. I mentioned that I am giving you a general definition of Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama based on the 9 stages. We might call them Kanish from this to this level, Madhyama from this to this level, Uttama to this level, based from the 9 stages. Now I mentioned that, who are the Uttamadhikaris according to Raghunath Das Goswami? Those who are Brajbasis, who are pure devotees of Krishna. Who are the Madhyama? They are the other Sampradaya Sannyasis. They are Madhyama. And who are the Kanishta? The Brahmanas who are residing in Braj. So our classification of who is a Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama is not only from the Gaudiya perspective, based on all Vaishnavas. All Vaishnavas who are residing in Braj. Based on that, we are classifying them as Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Based on the 9 stages, we are classifying general definition. Now, NOD, Rupa Goswami is using these terms, Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, but they are not like already practiced bhakti and attained perfection. They are entering the school of bhakti. Remember the IIT example, who cracked the exam and now they are entering the college. Similarly, those who have bhakti impressions, who have come in touch with sadhus, who are not too much attached or too much detached, they are qualified to practice and they take up to Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And among them, he says there are Uttama, Kanishta and Madhyama. So now I have given the general definition of Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Now specifically to NOD terms for the 3 adhikaris, where do they fit? I hope now it is a little clear. There's one hand which is raised. What about others? Yes, Kalyani Mataji.
Prabhuji, the Kanishta will fall in Sadhu Sangha. And
Okay.
bhajan kriya, and where the madhyam adhikari will asakti.
Okay.
No,
And
no.
Uday,
Madhyama will fall in this anartha nivati in this
who, who?
madhyam adhikari,
Okay.
and the uttam adhikari will fall in asakti.
Asakti. Mm, quite true, but we will take it till the stage of Nishta. Because as Rup Goswami, if you see in the terms he has definitions, if you see, proud Shraddha, firm faith. Firm faith refers to Nishta. Nishta. And although he is Shraddhavan, but still he cannot understand the conclusions of the scripture, the Madhyamadhikari. So that is why he falls in the Anarth Nivritti stage. And the Kanishta has very less Shraddhavan, Anipuna. That's why, because Anarth Nivritti has not happened. And that's why he is still not able to understand the meaning of the scriptures. And the Kanishta is somewhere where Shraddha is very, very komal. So yes, what you say is true. But as I was mentioning that Kanishta is somewhere where he's in all these three stages. Madhyam is Anarth Nivritti and Uttama is Nishta, and it can go all the way up to Lasakti, but usually the Uttama, like he enters the stage and he goes through these stages very fastly, and he's firmly fixed in the conclusion of scriptures, and he's preaching the conclusion of the scriptures. And from there, he goes on to the higher stages. Whereas the Madhyama, he's also quite intelligent, like that 500 rank holder who has cracked the exams for the IIT. But he'll have to, he might get defeated. Again, he will go and study the scriptures, ask his friends, devotees, and then come to the logical conclusion, because again go and, argue based on the scriptures, because still Anarth Nivritti has not happened. Whereas the Kanishta, his faith is very, very komal. So that is how you can see now these terms based on NOD, they don't fit in the general definition. They don't fit in the general definition defining these three adhikaris based on the 9 stages. Because based on the 9 stages, Uttam Adhikari is somewhere at Prauda Shraddha. This is Komala Shraddha, beginning stages. And from there, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krame Krame Sei Bhakt Hoy Uttam. So slowly from the Kanishta, you go to the Madhyam platform, the Uttam platform. And this is based on how one practices Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, because Rup Goswami is using these terms based on the adhikaris qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Please remember that. Qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So from that angle, these three terms have different meanings, and based on the 9 stages, you can see where they fit in. I hope it is clear. Any questions or any clarifications you have? This is very important. It takes many years sometimes for devotees to understand these 9 stages. What these 9 stages, how do we understand it? It becomes a little difficult. So that is why I am going quite in detail about it. Any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Anyone has any questions, clarifications? Okay, Vaishali Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, can you show the chart? Asakti, can you just in brief, Ruchi means they have developed the attachment, is it? And Asakti is, Ruchi is interest and Asakti is attachment.
No, it's not really
I
like
am
that.
not very, yeah, because I was not there for NOD.
No, it's NOI, you mean, no?
NOI,
NOI.
sorry. Yeah.
No, I know. I also have only spoken up till here only, not much more in detail.
So,
But
Prabhu, I just want to know that terms.
okay. See, firstly, these 9 stages is the beginning of faith. Faith in sadhus, faith in bhakti, faith in devotion to Krishna, and based on that faith, you associate with those sadhus. And sadhus will tell you to perform chanting of Hare Krishna, follow the regulative principles, and that's how we come into devotion, bhajan kriya. And when we start performing bhajan kriya, anartha nivritti happens. Anartha means unwanted things are eliminated. You know, we stop drinking tea and coffee. We stop going to the club or to other social things, entertainment things, and we start taking pleasure only in the association of devotees in festivals. We give up our bad habits. That is anartha nivritti. Then when I'm just giving you a general understanding, it's not as simple as it looks. It's a very elaborate subject. Nishta is when all the anarthas are almost destroyed and one is become very steady in his devotional service. So ruchi is taste. One has taste for chanting, one has taste for studying Bhagavatam, Gita, and asakti is when we develop attachment to Krishna. Bhava is the beginning of love of Godhead, and prema is the fully blossomed love of Godhead. So these are like that, the 9 stages. So based on NOD terms, we saw that Kanishta, Uttama, and Madhyama fall in these stages. I want to show you another slide just to give you another understanding. Now, this is based on Prabhupada's purport to 9.8 in the Bhagavad Gita. 8.28 in the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada says, Shraddha, what is the stage of Shraddha? One who has little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee. What is that? Little faith. That is the beginning stages. So we all know that when we came into devotional life, we heard the Bhagavad Gita from other devotees. We had faith, and that's why we are hearing. The very fact that we have faith in Krishna, faith in Bhagavad Gita, that's why with that faith we hear and slowly start accepting the instructions. Then he says, Sadhu Sangha and Bhajan Kriya is what? When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotee's association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. He says, after hearing the 7-day Bhagavad Gita course, attending 1 or 2 years, the satsangs, one wants to now deeply study the Bhagavad Gita. I want to know what this 4th chapter, this verse is, what is the connection between that and the 15th chapter? Why here Krishna is saying like this? What is the meaning of this term? So one wants to deeply study, then he has to find a devotee who is very, very qualified and who knows this Bhakti Shastri literatures. So then one actually begins to study, he says, Prabhupada, and understand Bhagavad Gita. So to hear Bhagavad Gita from a devotee and to study and understand is a higher level. So from Shraddha, you have gone into the association of sadhus and you are trying to study and understand the Bhagavad Gita. That is also like a bhajan. It's not that only chanting is bhajan, but studying Gita Adhyayana is also a kind of bhajan. Then Prabhupada says, by advancement in the association of the devotees, all one's misgivings about Krishna or God are dispelled. So why Krishna is saying this here? What is the meaning of Keshi Nisudana here? What is the meaning of Madhusudana here? What is the connection between this chapter and next chapter? When all the meanings of the Gita and all the topics of the Gita become clear, all the misgivings are cleared, then what happens? One is able to understand the Bhagavad Gita. What happens then? One attains Nishta. After these misgivings, the misgivings are the anarthas, about the truth about Krishna, truth about the Devtas. So all these Tattva Gyan, which is there in the Bhagavad Gita, when we thoroughly understand, that means all our anarthas are getting destroyed. Anaga. Arjuna is putting questions to Krishna. You're saying Karma Yoga is better than, if Jnana Yoga is better, then why are you telling me to do Karma Yoga? So all questions what Arjuna is putting is clearing his doubts. And similarly, when we study the Bhagavad Gita, all our doubts get cleared. So that is like Anarth Nivritti. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one study. So now because he starts relishing, because he understands the Gita, Ruchi, then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita. Asakti and Bhava, attached to studying the Bhagavad Gita, attains the stage of feeling always Krishna consciousness. So whenever he sees anything in this material world, he sees from this, from Shastra Chakshu. Everything he sees based on how Krishna has given the vision in the Gita. So that is the stage of Bhava. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna, Prabhupada says. And Prabhupada says, done, one goes back to Godhead. So like that, you can see these 9 stages are based on how one studies the Bhagavad Gita also, we can see them in that context. So this is another angle of seeing the 9 stages also. Okay. Now, any questions? Now I'll be now going into the classification of 3 adhikaris according to nectar of instruction, which we have studied. Now, this is the verse of text 5. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatabhischa bhajantam isham shushushaya bhajana vigyam ananyanya nindadi shunya rida ipsita sanga labdhya. One should mentally honor manasadriyeta to the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. Krishna iti yasya giritam. One should offer humble obeisances, pranatabhi, to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, ikshasti chet, and is engaged in worshipping the deity, bhajantam isham. One should associate with ipsita sanga labdva and faithfully serve that pure devotee, shushushaya, who is advanced in undeviated devotional service, ananyam bhajana vigyam, and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Anya nindadi shunya hridayam. So here you can see the Kanishtadhikari. Now actually text 5, text 6, in fact text 4 to 8, how a Madhyamadhikari deals with other Vaishnavas, the Kanishta and the Uttam is mentioned. The Madhyamadhikari should mentally honor anyone who just takes the name of Krishna. Now that person who is taking the name of Krishna, he might not be a devotee. He must be just some outside person who is having faith in Krishna. He is not taken up to devotional service. He is not in one sense an ISKCON devotee wearing kantimala, tilak, regularly coming to the temple for satsang. But he has some agyat sukruti, and that's why he's taking the name of the Lord. So according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyone who takes the name of Krishna, he is a Vaishnava. That is his definition of who is a Vaishnava. Anyone who takes the name of Krishna once, he is considered to be a Vaishnava. And he's a Kanishta Vaishnava. So the Kanishta Adhikari is who? Prior to Shraddha, to Anarth Nivritti. You can see how long this stage is. Prior to Shraddha, because that person, he might tell, seeing a devotee Hare Krishna, and he might offer respects, and we also in our mind should offer respect to such a devotee, such a person. And slowly we might see that, oh, this person is favorable to Krishna consciousness, let me preach to him. And we might connect him to the Bhagavad Gita course, and then he might take up to devotional life. Then he is now in the stage of Shraddha, Sadhu Sang, and now he has started Bhajan Kriya. But when he says Hare Krishna, he is still not connected to temple. It is the prior stage to Shraddha, where he is accumulating the Agyat Sukruti so that he can take up to devotional service. So that is the Kanishta Adhikari. The Madhyam Adhikari is from Anarth Nivritti to Asakti. Because first thing is, he is taken initiation, the second initiation, and he's worshipping the deity. He's absorbed in bhajan. The Uttamadhikari is Ananya Bhajana Vigyam and Anya Nindadi Shunya Ridham. His heart is pure, no malice in his heart, and there is no propensity to criticize. So this Uttamadhikari fits in the stage of Bhava and Prema. This is from the NOI perspective. Now, this is from the Bhagavad perspective, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarva Bhuteshu Yaha Pashet. Now, the three adhikaris according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavat Bhavam Atmana Utani Bhagavat Atmani Esha Bhagavatottama. The most advanced devotee, Bhagavat Uttama, sees within everything Sarva Bhuteshu Yaha Pashet, the soul of all souls. The soul of all souls refers to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Bhagavat Bhavam. He says that he sees in this devotee's heart Krishna resides. Consequently, he sees systematically everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. Bhutani Bhagavat Atmani. Now again the Uttamadhikari here fits within the stage of Bhava and Prema here. The Madhyamadhikari here, Bhagavatam, Ishvare tad adhineshu bhalisheshu dvishatsu cha prema maitri kripopeksha yaha karoti samadhyama. An intermediate or second class devotee called Madhyamadhikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvare Prem is a sincere friend of all the devotees of the Lord. Tad Adhineshu Maitri shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent. Balishu Kripa, Balisheshu Kripa, and disregards those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishatsu Upeksha. Now here it is interesting that the Madhyamadhikari here is mentioned from Nishta to Prema. I will explain this, why it is Nishta to Prema, when I take another chart. The Kanisht, Archayam eva hare pujamya shraddayetah natad bhakteshu chaneshu sabhakta prakrita smrita. A devotee, yah bhakta, who faithfully engages shraddaya ihate in the worship of the deity in the temple, hare archayam eva pujam, but does not behave properly towards other devotees, na tad bhakteshu, or people in general, cha anneshu, is called a prakrita bhakta or a materialistic devotee, sa prakrita smrita, and is considered to be in the lowest position, Kanishtadhikari. So here we can see most important is this devotee is engaged in deity worship. That means he has first and second initiation. So he has Shraddha, he is taking association of sadhus, he is doing bhajan in the form of deity worship. But Anarth Nivritti stage, he is in the Anarth Nivritti stage because somehow he is, he thinks I and my deity, and he doesn't much associate. His love for the Lord is not expanded in the form of love for his devotees also. That is why he does not behave properly with other devotees or people in general. So Anarth Nivritti has not happened. He is like a materialistic devotee. It's mentioned here, materialistic devotee, Prakrita Smrita. So that is the Kanishta from the Bhagavatam perspective. Now the Bhagavatam perspective is more from the vision. A Kanishta's vision is very narrow. I and my deity. That's it. And he doesn't talk to other devotees, behave with others. A Madhyama's vision is broader. He has love for the Lord, and that love for the Lord manifests in the form of friendship with the Lord's devotees. And that love manifests as compassion to the innocent, and that love manifests as indifference or disregard to those who are envious of the Lord. So that is how the Madhyamadhikari's love manifests. The Uttama has pure love for the Lord, and that's why he sees the Lord in every living being. Premanjuna Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiv Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Sham Sundar, as in the Brahma Samhita it is mentioned. So this classification from the Bhagavatam perspective of the three Adhikaris is basically based on vision. Now the Sanatan Shiksha and the Chaitanya Charitamrit is exactly Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. The definitions of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which we already saw, and these verses I quoted already along with Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So this is the Uttamadhikari, and we can say it is Nishtha to Asakti. Mataji had mentioned up to Asakti, but I take it as a Nishtha. Usually in the beginning stages in Nishtha, and he might quickly go to Asakti. That's the point. Madhyam Adhikari is Anarth Nivrati, and Kanishta Adhikari is Bhajan Kriya. We have seen this classification. Now there is another classification of Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttama in Chaitanya Charitamrit, that is the Kulina Gram Vasis. The Kulina Gram Vasis once asked Chaitanya Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, every year they used to come to Bengal, from Bengal to Jagannath Puri to spend the 4 months with of Chaturmas with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, attending the Rath Yatra and all the festivals. So Satyaraj Khan once on behalf of the Kulina Gram Vasis asked, we are Grahasthas, what is our duty? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that chant the holy name and serve the Vaishnavas. So then they asked, who are the Vaishnavas? How do we recognize who are the Vaishnavas? So Mahaprabhu replies here in the Chaitanya Charitamrit. Prabhu kahe yandra mukhe shune ekabar Krishna naam sei puja shreshta sabakar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, Prabhu kahe, whoever chants the holy name of Krishna just once, yandra mukhe shune ekabar Krishna, is worshipable, sei puja, and is the topmost human being. Mahaprabhu is saying he's not the topmost devotee, but he's the topmost human being. Why? Among all human beings, he's the best because he's taking the name of Krishna. So one who takes the name of Krishna is a Kanishta Adhikari, and this is prior to Shraddha. This is very parallel to NOI definitions, if you see the NOI definitions. The Madhyam Adhikari, the next year, the Kulina Gram Vasis came and they asked Mahaprabhu the same question. So Mahaprabhu said, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and serve the Vaishnavas. Who are the Vaishnavas? How do we recognize Vaishnavas? Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Nama Nirantara Yanara Vadane Sei Vaishnava Shreshta Bhaje Tahara Charane. A person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord, Krishna Nam Nirantara Yahara Vadane, is to be considered a first-class Vaishnava. Say Vaishnava Shresht, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. Bhaja Tahara Charane. So serve these kind of Vaishnavas. You all Grahasthas chant the holy name and serve the Vaishnavas. Now again here Madhyamadhikari is from Nishtha to Prema, and I will explain when I take up the chart why it is from Nishtha to Prema. The third year, again the Kulina Gram Vasis asked Mahaprabhu, what is our duty as Grahasthas? Mahaprabhu said the same answer. Chant the holy name, serve the Vaishnavas. Who are the Vaishnavas? So this time Mahaprabhu gave another higher definition of Vaishnava. Yanara darshane mukhe asi Krishna nam tahara jani tumi Vaishnava pradhan. A first class Vaishnava, tahara jani tumi Vaishnava pradhan, is he whose very presence make others chant the holy name of Krishna. Yahara darshana mukhe asi Krishna. That means a Mahabhagavata or Uttamadhikari, just by his presence, others will attain the Sukriti and their heart will get purified and they will take Krishna's name. That means he is able to make others into Vaishnavas. He's like a touchstone. So this is the Uttamadhikari, and his stages from, you can see, based on the 9 stages, the Prema. Now let us go to this chart where classification of all these adhikaris based on the various books. Kanishta, Uttama and Madhyama. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu definition we saw, it is Nishta to Asakti, but we will take it as Nishta. Madhyamadhikari is Anarth Nivritti and Kanishta is Bhajan Kriya. But NOI definition, if we see, it is prior to Shraddha to Anarth Nivritti. And the Madhyama here is again Anarth Nivritti to Asakti, which definitely from the general definition of the 9 stages it fits in. And the Uttamadhikari is Bhava to Prema. Again, that fits in the Uttamadhikari definition in the general 9 stages what we saw. The Srimad Bhagavatam, again the Uttamadhikari fits here. But you can see that the Madhyamadhikari, we say it is from Nishta to Prema. And the Kanishtadhikari is Prakrita, because he is worshipping the deity but it doesn't behave well with the devotees. So Anarth Nivritti we see. Because he is already worshipping the deity, that means he is first and second initiated. So that is Anarth Nivritti. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Sanatan Shiksha is parallel to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So it is same. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Kulina Gramvasis is parallel to NOI. So you can see it is same. Now my question to you, before I speak, why from the Bhagavatam perspective or the Kulina Gramvasis, the Madhyama is being classified from Nishta to Prema? Whereas you see, usually Uttamadhikari is, here at least in here in Bhagavatam it is Prema, Bhava and Prema, Bhava and Prema. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, because they are entering the school of Bhakti, it is Nishta. Here also it is, in one sense it is Nishta only. In fact, it should not be Anarth Nivritti, it should be Nishta. I'll change this. So why, why it is mentioned as Nishta to Prema for a Madhyamadhikari, for the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Kulina Gram Vasis. Anyone has any idea about it? Why it is so? What is the reason? What is the reason? Anyone has any idea? Okay. Yes. Okay, there's one hand which is raised. Okay. Yes, Kalyani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is it just Srimad Bhagavatam? According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the vision is given. According to vision, means they are on a highest platform where they have a prem faith and they have shastric knowledge also. And as you told that Madhyamadhikari, they have the highest vision, means we have to treat each and every person as a Vaishnava who has taken a name, means as a Kulinagram. Both कि मतलब किसी ने एक बार भी अगर नाम लिया तो he is a Vaishnav. So मतलब that is the highest vision the Madhyamadhikari is having, that he has the prim faith also, Shastric knowledge also, means he's dealings with the other Vaishnavas and other human beings. It is on a highest platform.
No, Madhyamadhikari doesn't have the highest vision. It is the Uttamadhikari who has the highest vision. Okay, but let us hear what Pavan Bala Govinda Prabhu has to say. There is another reason. Let us see what Pavan Bala Govinda Prabhu has to say. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Prabhu. My understanding is here in especially Chaitanya Charitamrita that the Lord himself is involved in classifying it. So he can always veto all other categories, and he can definitely fix up that one. That could be one of my understanding.
No. It's not like that. Definitely not like that. Mohan Rup Shyam Prabhuji. Yes.
No, Prabhuji, but I have a question, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Tell me. Okay.
Why is the difference in the definitions? It has to, definition means it has to be a one answer, right? Because what it may be like it's all the opinion of the different, like it's a Rupa Goswami's opinion and Vyasadev's opinion, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is why there is a difference.
No, that's the first fundamental thing which we, after many years coming in spiritual life, which we don't get it, is that every term of Sanskrit, the definition is based on the context and the text. That is why we see Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari and Kanishtadhikari are three terms. And Rupa Goswami is using these three terms, and you can see they mean, they refer to these 9 stages based on the 9 stages, different levels. Yes.
Yeah.
NOI is using these terms. The 3 adhikaris, again, they are on different levels. Bhagavatam is using, it is from a different angle. So they are all from different angles. So every book, when we do classification, or what is called as taxonomy, it's a science of classification. When we do a particular classification and see things from that angle, things look differently, and we'll have to see from that angle. But when we do classification from some other angle, then we'll have to look from that angle. Now, let me give you a simple example to understand this. Suppose we are having a small meeting with the devotees, and the leader tells, okay, all the Prabhujis and the Matajis sit in separate places. The Prabhujis sit in the right, the Matajis sit in the left. So once he does this classification of the Prabhujis and Matajis, this is like a classification. Now he knows how many Prabhus are there, how many Matajis are there. Now he says, okay, now all the first initiated sit in one side, the second initiated sit in the other side. So then the Prabhujis and Matajis might be in one side based on who are first initiated, and those who are second not initiated, they will sit in the other side. Then he might classify in another angle. So it's the same group, but the classification is done from different bases. So similarly, the classification of these 3 adhikaris is done according to these various books: Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, NOI, Bhagavatam, CC. CC, again, there are these 2. Now I will come to that when I explain the next slide. But I know this question, what I was asking is, why in the Srimad Bhagavatam or in the Chaitanya Charitamrit Kulinagram definition, the Madhyamadhikari is said to be on the stage of, from the stage of Nishtha to Prema. Nishtha to Prema. Prema, you should qualify him as Uttamadhikari. But why such a long stretch from Nishtha to Prema? Here you can see, from Nishtha to Prema is a Uttamadhikari according to Bhagavatam and CC. That was my point, and that was my question, which many could not catch it. Now the reason here is because Uttamadhikari's vision is very pure, and in fact the Uttamadhikari comes down to the Madhyama platform to preach, because to preach he has to distinguish who is a devotee, who is not a devotee, and then only he can preach. But Uttamadhikari's vision is so pure that he thinks that everyone is a devotee and I am not a devotee. That is how he thinks. We know that story of Yudhishthira Maharaj and Duryodhan. They were told, to go and find a person who is more qualified than themselves. So Duryodhan went in the entire village and found out that he said, actually, I am the most qualified. I did not see anyone more qualified than me. Whereas Yudhishthira Maharaj's answer was that I am the most disqualified. I found everyone more qualified than me. It is a matter of vision. So that is why Uttamadhikari comes down to the Madhyama platform to preach. And that is why the level here, Madhyamadhikari, is mentioned as from Nishtha to Prema. Somebody might be very good in Shastra. He might be very steadily practicing. devotion. He's a Madhyamadikari, but he might have not attained prema till. He has to go to the stages of ruchi, asakti, and then attain bhava and attain prema. And then he's a Uttamadikari. So there are two types of preachers. One who is a very shastric person, who is very steadily practicing. He is practicing and also preaching. He might be at the stage of Nishtha. There is another who is a very advanced devotee, who's at the level of Prema. He also is coming down to the Madhyama platform and doing preaching. So somebody from the higher vision comes down to the Madhyama platform in order to preach. And that is why the Srimad Bhagavatam definition and the Kulinagram definition, it's mentioned as Nishtha to Prema. Nishtha to Prema. So this is first thing we had to understand. Now, I'm sure the NOI definition and the Srimad Bhagavatam definition of the Uttamadikari is Bhava to Prema is very clear. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, why it is only Nishtha, we know that. The Uttama is, because he has got Praud Shraddha, and the CC also, we can see it is Praud Shraddha only, same definition. So we can see the Uttamadikari here, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is at the stage of Nishtha, whereas the Uttamadikari according to NOI or Bhagavatam is at Bhava to Prema, and the Kulinagram Vasi is according to them Prema. So that is why these Uttama, Kanishta, Madhyama, they are terms, and based on how the acharyas are defining these terms, or from which book you are seeing, the levels based on the 9 stages will not be the same. There is a general understanding, which I mentioned in the chart initially, the general understanding, but specifically according to the book, it will vary. So this is first thing you'll have to clearly understand. Now, secondly, the different definitions of the 3 Vaishnavas, and what is the classification basis and what is the application. Now here you see Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is based on faith and shastric logic. The Uttama has Praud Shraddha and Shastrukta Nipuna. That's why he's called as a Uttamadikari. The Madhyama has also his Shraddhavan and is Shastra Anipuna, whereas the Kanishta is Komal Shraddha. And what is the application? Candidates who are entering the Bhakti school, they are qualified for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. This is the application here. The NOI definition is based on name, respect, and loving exchanges, because the Madhyamadikari, how he reciprocates or how he has loving exchanges with other Vaishnavas. So the Madhyamadikari understands who is a Kanishta, who is a Uttama. So for the Kanishta, he will preach them. To the Uttama, he will reveal his heart and take his association. So anyone who takes the name of Krishna, the Madhyama will respect him in his mind. One who is engaged in bhajan, doing the deity worship, he'll offer his respects. And one who is pure at heart, he will try to always seek his association. So the Madhyamadikaris dealing with Vaishnavas and people in general is the application of the NOI. The Srimad Bhagavatam is more based on vision. The vision of 3 kinds of Vaishnavas in Vaishnava society. Because there the Kanishta, according to Bhagavatam, he is engaged in deity worship. That means he is a Vaishnava. He is first and second initiated. But yet his vision is very narrow. I and my deity. We find some devotees like this, right? They don't much have nice friendship with other devotees. The Madhyama, we saw that 4 different types of love. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. And the highest vision is of the Uttamadikari there, we saw. So this classification is based on vision, and application is the 3 kinds of Vaishnavas in Vaishnava society. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Sanatana Shiksha is same as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and the Kulinagram Vasi is same based on name, respect, and serving Vaishnavas, because the Grahasthas asked, serve the Vaishnavas, Mahaprabhu said, but who are Vaishnavas? So here the Grahastha Madhyamadikaris, Vaishnavas dealing and serving Vaishnavas and people in general. So you can see how elaborate the science is about these three adhikaris. Now, one thing when we had a long discussion and a lot of churning on this, these adhikaris based on these different books, many devotees were thinking that, oh, this is too, too technical and, too complicated. And, how do I understand, when somebody tells Hare Krishna, oh, according to now NOI, I should offer him respects. Oh, this devotee is worshipping the deity. He's not dealing with the devotees nicely. So according to Bhagavatam, he's a Kanishta. So it's not that we, analyze like this always, but in general, equipped with this knowledge, it's like having a lens. I call it as a lens. In cameras, you have a zoom lens. There are concentric lens. When you click that lens button, there are many concentric lens which come out. You know that. And when you click the photos, then the pictures are very clear. Similarly, it's not that, all these different definitions are, going to have a paralysis of analysis within us. No, they fit all in the form of like a concentric lens in us when we see things. And it actually broadens our understanding of bhakti, of devotees, of Vaishnavas, and how to apply these different definitions, different classifications in what context. So that is why we need to know these different types of terms used as Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama based on the different definitions in the different books. So now I think things are more clear. Any questions or clarifications now?
Guruji, one more.
Yes, yes.
Is there anywhere Lord Krishna has told about these type of adhikaris or definitions, or is about his devotees?
Krishna has spoken in this in
from
the
Krishna's
Bhagavatam.
perspective. Okay.
Krishna has spoken this in the Bhagavatam. We saw the Bhagavatam definitions.
Okay.
Now,
That is Uddhav Gita. Okay.
yeah, that is from the Uddhav Gita.
Hmm.
Rup Goswami is using these Kanishta, Uttama, Madhyama in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, again from a different angle altogether. We can see that those who are qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. I told that example. We should remember that IIT example.
Yeah, yes.
First rank, 5th rank holder, 500th rank holder, 900th rank holder. All three have entered IIT, but their level of intelligence is different. So they are entering IIT. That means these Kanishta, Uttama, and Madhyama are entering the school of Bhakti. And, from that angle, he is giving these definitions of who is a Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and a Uttama Adhikari. So like that, Rup Goswami is using these terms from a different perspective altogether. Again, Rup Goswami, same Acharya, is using this from a completely different perspective in Deshamrit on how a Madhyama deals with all the kinds of Vaishnavas. And in fact, such an analysis has been done by Bhakti Vinod Thakur himself. Bhakti Vinod Thakur himself does this analysis from the Bhagavad perspective, from the Chaitanya Charitamrita perspective, and mentions that Bhagavad perspective is based on Naam. Anyone who takes the name of Krishna, once he is a Kanishta. Anyone who is taking the name of Krishna regularly, Nirantar, he is a Madhyama. Anyone who is able to inspire others to take the name of Krishna, he is a Uttama. So his definition of a Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama is completely based on holy name. So like that, these different classifications have been done. And in fact, by understanding this different classification, it broadens our vision of understanding scriptures. In fact, it took me almost 10-15 years to understand this. You are all fortunate. You understood it in one class. Otherwise, it was always confusing why Bhagavatam says this like this and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says like this. Why? How a Uttamadhikari is taking to the school of Bhakti, he should be in stage of Bhava and Prema. But he's only at the stage of Nishtha. Because he defines Kanishta Uttama from a different angle. His definition of a Kanishta is completely different. Bhaktivinoda Thakur again uses this term Uttama from a different angle. Those who are intelligent to understand Shastras and read Shastras, he says they are Uttamadhikaris. So like that, and I explained Raghunath Das Goswami's view of seeing who is the Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama. His level is different. Those who are pure Brajvasis are Uttamadhikaris. Those who are other Vaishnavas from other Sampradayas, maybe if they are Sannyasis also, they are Madhyamadhikaris. And those who are Brahmanas, who are more attached to Varnashram duties, residing in Braj, they are Kanishtadhikaris. There might be Sannyasis from the Srimad Sampradaya who must be worshipping the deities in Vrindavan, but still, according to Raghunath Das Goswami and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they are Madhyamadhikaris. So they are using the term Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama from a different perspective. So from what perspective you are using the terms, based on that, you'll have to see things. Is it clear? Okay, any questions regarding this? Any other questions you have? Okay, so we have finished this. This is not part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but it is important that we understand these terminologies, and that's why we spent practically an entire class on this now. Now, we saw that there are three types of devotees who have previous impressions of Bhakti, who come up to the practice of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And they are Kanishta, Uttama and Madhyama, which Rupa Goswami spoken. Now, purification of mixed devotees. Mixed devotees means Mishra Bhakta. So this is an important topic, and this is not a well understood subject. So that's why I will briefly just give you an understanding about it. Now, Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti is what we have discussed and defined by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. So anyone who comes in a touch with devotees, pure devotees, and has faith in hearing Krishna Katha for them, Krishna Katha from them, and he starts practicing, actually he is practicing Uttama Bhakti. He is practicing Sadhana Bhakti, and we know that Sadhana Bhakti definition fits in the Uttama Bhakti definition. And he is specifically practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, by practicing, he will attain Bhava Bhakti and attain Prema Bhakti later on. And who are qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? There can be these three, Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama, which we, Rupa Goswami explained. Uttama is having Shastra Yukta Nipuna, he is proud Shraddha. Madhyama is Shraddhavan, Shastra Yukta Anipuna, Kanishta is Komal Shraddha. So these are the three categories, types of people who will take up to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and start practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, which is Uttama Bhakti itself. Now there are something called as Mishra Bhaktas. This is Uttama Bhakti, this is Mishra Bhakti, mixed devotional service. Now many devotees think that because I am having so many anarthas in my heart, I am practicing mixed devotion. No, we are practicing pure devotion only. But our anarthas, we don't rejoice. Like, I have desire to enjoy in this world. So I am practicing devotion now so that I can get enjoyment. No, that is not the purpose of why I am practicing devotion now or to attain Svarga. But Mishra Bhakti is what? Where one is practicing bhakti with the desire to become free from distress or to attain wealth, or he's inquisitive. That's why he's, he's taken up to devotion, or he's having knowledge about the Lord, but his main purpose is to attain knowledge of the Lord. So this Mishra Bhakti or the mixed devotees are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.16. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritano arjuna arto jigyasu artharti jnani cha bharatarshabha. So there are these four categories. Artha. Artha means what? Distressed. So distress means I practice devotion with the intention to become free from distress. That is called as Mishra Bhakti. Artharti, the example is of Dhruva Maharaj. He practiced devotion with the sole intention to attain a kingdom greater than his father, greater than his great-grandfather also, Brahma. So with that intention. So this kind of bhakti is called as Karma Mishra Bhakti. You can see here, KMB, Karma Mishra Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti. Karma Mishra Bhakti means bhakti is predominant, but there is a mishran of karma. There is a desire to become free from distress or attain wealth. Then there is Jnana Mishra Bhakti, where there is Jigyasu. Jigyasu is inquisitors or the Jnani. They are the Jnana Mishra Bhaktas. So they are practicing Mishra Bhakti. Please remember, they are practicing Mishra Bhakti, but these Mishra Bhaktas also can take up to Shuddha Bhakti, that is Uttama Bhakti, and they will also again fall in the category of Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttam, and start practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So how the Mishra Bhaktas can take up to Uttama Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti, the purification of the mixed devotees is what is being discussed now. And I'm just giving you an overview, but Rupa Goswami speaks about this in the verse here. So let us take this verse and the explanation, and then if you have any questions, I will take up. Now I'll not read the verse, but directly I'll read the translation. Among the four types of persons qualified for bhakti, Chaturnam Adhikarinam Madhe. They are also Chaturvidha Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritino. Krishna says Sukritino. Madhe, mentioned in the Gita, Tatra Gita Adishu Uktanam, when they receive the mercy of the Lord, Yasmin Bhagavata Kripa Swat, or his devotee, Tat Priyaseva, and eradicate those tendencies. Sa Shina Tad Tat Tad Bhava. So what they eradicate those tendencies? The tendencies of attaining wealth or distress or inquisitiveness or the knowledge aspect of the Lord, Aishwarya Gyan. They become qualified for pure bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti Adhikarin Swat. Now please remember, the word is here Chaturanam Adhikaryam Madhe, and here it is Shuddha Bhakti Adhikarivan. So these four are having qualification to practice mixed devotion. So these mixed devotees can take up to Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti when they receive the mercy of the Lord or his devotees. That means only when they come in touch with pure devotees, then they can, or the Lord directly, then they can give up their Mishran. Examples of this are Gajendra, Shaunak and the sages, Dhruva and also the four Kumaras. Yatha, Ibhya, Shaunakadish cha, Dhruva, sa cha, Chatusana. Now, among the four categories I mentioned from the Bhagavad Gita verse, Artho is what? Distress. Which is the example among the four here? Raise your hands. Among the four here, Gajendra, Shaunaka, Dhruva and the four Kumaras. Where does Gajendra fit in? Artho, Artharti, Jigyasu or Gyani? Artha means distress. Among the four, where does Gajendra fit? Raise your hands. Where does Gajendra fit here? Gajendra, Artha. Artha is the distressed. Yes. What about Shaunakadi and the sages? Where do they fit in? Where do they fit in? Gajendra, Shaunaka and the sages. Anyone? The sages Jigyasu. Yes, correct. Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, where does he fit in? Artharthi, yes. And the four Kumaras, they are Gyanis. Now, okay, having a little bit of this understanding that they are Karma Mishra or Jnana Mishra, and the Mishran goes away when they come in touch with pure devotees, and they also take up to Shuddha Bhakti. Now, okay, let us go to the now commentary of Jiva Goswami. This verse states the four types of persons mentioned in the Gita are in a condition prior to pure bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. This is their condition prior to taking up to Shuddha Bhakti. Okay. The statement applies to all four types. Whoever among the four types receives the mercy of the Lord becomes qualified with pure bhakti. Shaunakadi refers to Shaunak and the assembled sages, and Chatusthana refers to Sanak and the other Kumaras. This is the statement in the Gita. Chaturvidaha bhajante mam, jana sukritano arjuna, artho jigyasu arthati, jnani cha bharatarshava. Four types of religious persons. Chaturvidha sukritano jana, worship me, mam bhajate, O Arjuna, the sufferer. Gajendra was suffering, and in that suffering he called out. But later on, when the Lord showed mercy to him, then he felt, oh, why did I, I did not call you out of pure love and devotion. I called you to make me free from this distress. So that karma mishran went away and he became pure and he became a pure devotee. So the mishran went away because of direct having darshan of the Lord. The inquirer are the four the Shaunakadi sages. The enjoyer is Dhruva and the Jnani is the four Kumaras. Now let us, what category do the four Sukritanas belong to? Kanishta, Madhyama or the Uttama? The Jnani mentioned in the Gita is not an impersonal Jnani. Here in the 7th chapter, the Jnani is not actually the impersonal Jnani because it is mentioned, Tesham Jnani Nitya Ukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. He is practicing bhakti with one pointed attention. But one thing about this Jnani is that he is more interested in the knowledge aspect of the Lord rather than pure devotion aspect. That's it. Therefore, the four Kumaras given as an example of Jnanis are not impersonal. They are called Jnanis because they know about the Lord. However, even they must get the mercy of the Lord to practice pure bhakti. So the four Kumaras, in one sense, it is a pastime. They are not strict in the sense that they are Jnanis because they have knowledge about the Lord. They heard from Brahma, their father, about the Lord, and they became very much attracted hearing about the Lord. And that's why the four Kumaras rushed to have the darshan of the Lord. And they passed through the 7th gate, and the 7th gate, they were stopped. They had so much attraction after hearing from Brahma to see the Lord that they went, but they were stopped. And that's why they became angry. So they know about the Lord. And when they attained the Lord's mercy, the Jnana mission, the mission went away and they also attained pure devotion. And this famous verse is there. Tasya Arvinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antargata Swavivarena Chakaratesham Sankshobhyakshara Jusham Apichitta Tanvo. with the breeze, Vayu, carrying the aroma of the leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. Tasya Ravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjalka Mishra Tulasi Makaranda entered the nostril of those sages. Tesham Swavivarena Antargata. They experienced a change both in the body and the mind. Sankshubhya Chakara Chitta Tanvo, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. Akshara Jusham Api. So here we saw how these four Kumaras, although they were very elevated and they were fixed in the Brahman realization, and their Jnana Mishra, just by the smell of the Tulsi, they got fully purified and they became pure devotees of the Lord. They became the pure devotees. We should remember that the four Kumaras are actually the avatars of the Lord. They are the Jnana Shakti avatars of the Lord. The Bhakti Shakti avatar of the Lord is Narad Muni. The Praja Palan Shakti avatar of the Lord is Prithu Maharaj, like that. Rup Goswami has mentioned the example of the Kumaras as Jnanis to show the superiority of pure Bhakti over Jnana. So, how Bhakti is superior to Jnana, that the four Kumaras also took up to Bhakti. So, if the Kumaras who are known as Jnanis take up to Bhakti, this shows the superiority of Bhakti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur classifies them as Jnana Mishra Bhaktas who attained Shantarati. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary goes quite elaborate into it, and he says that they are Jnana Mishra Bhaktas because they have knowledge about the Lord, as I mentioned. Actually, they should be understood as examples of Vaidhi Bhakti being called Jnanis only because of some similarities. So as I was mentioning and showing you in this chart, that these four kinds, they are Mishra Bhaktas and they take up to Shuddha Bhakti, and they also fall again in this category of Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama, and they take up to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. They are qualified now to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, these four categories. That is why actually they should be understood as examples of Vaidhi Bhakti being called Jnanis only because of some similarities. Sometimes in our devotional circles, we say, oh, this devotee, he's a Jnani. He has good knowledge about Shastras. So when we say he's a Jnani, we don't mean that he is practicing the Jnana path. No, we are using the term Jnani for him to, emphasize that he has knowledge about the Bhakti Shastras. So in that sense, so they are being called as Jnanis only because of some similarities. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Gajendra, being greedy to attain the sweetness of the Lord, gave up his desire to get relief from suffering and then became a pure devotee. So Gajendra called out the Lord out of distress, and the Lord heard and he came, and having darshan of the Lord, he got purified and he gave up that suffering and he became a Shuddha Bhakti. So Karma Mishra Bhakti to Shuddha Bhakti directly by Bhagavad Kripa for Gajendra happened. The sages headed by Shaunaka gave up their desire for knowing about Swargaloka and other topics through the association with Suta and became pure devotees. So actually the sages headed by Shaunakadi, they were Karmakandis. They were doing a sacrifice to attain Swarga. Swargaya Lokaya, that is the verse which is mentioned in the Bhagavatam in the first canto, first chapter. So they were doing the sacrifice, and somehow what happened? Suta Goswami entered. Because they attained the association of a pure devotee like Suta Goswami, they became inquisitive to know about bhakti, about pure devotional service. So from the Jnana Mishra Bhakti, which they were practicing, the Shaunakadi, they became inquisitive about pure devotional service, and they questioned Suta Goswami, and they also took up to Shuddha Bhakti. Dhruva Maharaj, by the mercy of the Lord, gave up his desire for a kingdom and became a pure devotee. So Dhruva Maharaj practiced bhakti. That bhakti what he practiced was Mishra Bhakti, because it was a desire to attain kingdom greater than his great grandfather. So, but when the Lord gave him darshan, that Hari Bhakti Suhoday verse is there. Actually, I was asking for pieces of glasses, but now I've got a diamond. So he regretted and lamented that why did I practice spiritual life with a desire to attain wealth. So he gave up that desire when he attained the mercy of the Lord. So from Karma Mishra Bhakti, he took up to Shuddha Bhakti by the mercy of the Lord directly. Here it is by the mercy of pure devotee, that is Sut Goswami. The Kumaras, by the mercy of the Lord, gave up the desire for liberation and became pure devotees. So here the Kumaras directly attained the mercy of the Lord, and from Jnana Mishra Bhakti, they took up to Shuddha Bhakti, and immediately they became Shuddha Bhaktas also. Please understand that. Just by smelling the tulsi which was offered in the lotus feet of the Lord. Because they were already very, very elevated. They were self-realized souls. So that is how the four Kumaras also became Shuddha Bhaktas. Now, these are the examples of how one from Mishra Bhakti takes up to Shuddha Bhakti. Now, let us see what Prabhupada has to say, and then we will take up any questions. Further classification of the neophyte devotee is made in the Bhagavad Gita. Neophyte devotee is one who begins. It is stated that four classes of men, namely those who are distressed, those who are in need of money, and those who are inquisitive, and those who are wise, begin devotional service and come to the Lord for relief in the matter of their respective self-satisfaction. So those who are distressed, they want to become free from their distress. Those who are in need of money, they come to the temple. And those who are inquisitive, to satisfy their inquisitiveness, they come, and after that they go. I remember many years back, one person, very pious person, came to the temple, and he kept his file in front of the deities, and then after a few days he met me and he told me, Prabhuji, I had kept a file. It was a contract file which I was supposed to get sanctioned. It was a big contract, and by the Lord's mercy, I won this contract. So after a few years, I did not see him. Why? Because after he got that contract, he was making a lot of money and he was absorbed in that. And after many years, again, I saw him. So they come to the temple because they are in need of money. They are Sukritino because they have some Sukriti. That's why they have faith in the Lord. They come. But if they take up to the association of devotees and take up to practice, that Mishran will be going away and they will take up to Shuddha Bhakti. They will come for their respective self-satisfaction. This is the point. Such beginners can be elevated to the second-class platform or first-class platform if they associate with pure devotees. So the Mishra Bhaktas, they can take up to Shuddha Bhakti if they attain the association of Shuddha Bhaktas. Srila Prabhupada gives the same four examples of Dhruva, Gajendra, Suta, and the Kumaras. So they attained the Lord's mercy. Here they attained the Lord's pure devotee's mercy. Without becoming pious, Agyat Sukriti, no one can come to devotional service. These four types of devotees have all been accepted as pious. Oh, there was some problem in the movement of the slide. It is explained in the Bhagavad Gita that only one who has continually executed pious activities and whose sinful reactions in life have completely stopped can take up to Krishna consciousness. Others cannot. Esham tu antagatam papam, Prabhupada is quoting here. Without pious activities, if a man is in distress condition, he becomes an agnostic, a communist, or something like that. Because he does not firmly believe in God, he thinks he can adjust his distress condition by totally disbelieving in him. The less intelligent, or those whose intelligence has been taken away by the smell of Maya, are attached to different demigods. Kamasyasте Ritagyana. So there are others who might take up to demigod worship. But those who come to Krishna and to become free from their distress, their intention and purpose is different. Their intention is to become free from distress or to gain wealth. But when they give up these intentions and practice bhakti with the intention exclusively to please Krishna, then they take up to Shuddha Bhakti. So this is how the mixed devotees, the purification of the mixed devotees, or these other four categories, the Karma Mishra, Jnana Mishra, Bhakti, Bhaktas, come to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and they will also be somewhere in Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Now here this is a general understanding. The Artho and the Artharthi might be at the level of Kanishta. The Jigyasu might be at the level of Madhyama. But the Jnani, who has knowledge about the Lord, he might be Uttama. So all these four categories will take up to practice of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and they will be classified either as Kanishta, Madhyama, or Uttama based on, the same verses of Rupa Goswami, Shastra Ukta Nipuna, Prauda Shraddha, based on that same verses, and they will take up to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and attain Shuddha Bhakti. Please remember here, only by practicing Shuddha Bhakti, as per Rupa Goswami's definition, we can attain Vraj Bhakti and attain Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. By Mishra Bhakti, we can attain only Vaikuntha, at the max Shant and Dasyaras, not even Sakya Ras also. But the other rasas like Sakya, Dasya, Vatsalya and Madhur rasas, especially in Vraja, can be only attained by practicing Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti. So these are these other devotees who can be qualified to take up to pure devotion, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. These are called as the Mishra Bhaktas. They can take up to Shuddha Bhakti only if they attain the mercy of the Lord or the pure devotees. Then they take up to Shuddha Bhakti. So these four also, they are qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? I hope this categorization of how the mixed devotees can take up to pure devotion was clear. I hope it is clear. Yeah, it's very important because from the reading of the summary study, this classification doesn't become clear. So that's why I made it in the form of a chart and try to explain it. Okay, so we have finished one more part today. That is the qualification to practice pure devotion, the three adhikaris, and even the mixed devotees also. We have discussed, we have finished this discussion today. So we have finished this, yes, we have finished this qualification for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana. Now, the next theme is rejection of desire for bhukti and mukti, which is a very interesting topic for us as sadhakas. Now, this we will take it up next week. There is one question by Surya Kund Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we come to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti only we are in mixed bhakti. Means we have come. I was before in mixed bhakti only. Then we are coming to the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, sir, Prabhuji.
This is a misconception. How do you know that you are practicing mixed devotion?
Mixed devotion means I was in distress first before, and I was inquisitive for what is the purpose of this. That inquiry is in my mind. So through some means in there was a Rath Yatra. So one devotee invited me over there. So after coming there only, then I started going to the temple.
Yes. Okay. This is clear. Now, yes, we might be in distress, and based on distress, we go to the temple. And in the temple, we hear the Bhagavad Gita classes, and we associate with devotees, and we take up to practice of devotional life. So there we start practicing Shuddha Bhakti. But we should not be in a misconception that now because we are practicing Bhakti, the Bhakti what we are practicing is Mishra Bhakti. No. The Bhakti what we are practicing is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And this Sadhana Bhakti definition is fitting very much in the category of Uttama Bhakti.
Okay.
And, I will come to this topic. It's an important topic. If we ask now, how many of us fit in the category of Anya Abhilashita Shunyam? We are all Vaidhi Sadhika practitioners. Am I free from all material desires and have exclusive one desire to please Krishna? No.
No.
Because anarthas are there in our heart. But how do we see these anarthas? We see them, these desires, as anarthas, or we see them as, I have a desire to attain a lot of wealth. So let me now practice, Vaidhi sadhana with great determination day and night so that I can attain wealth. With this kind of an intention, are we practicing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti? No. Anyone you ask who is practicing devotees in ISKCON, no. Nobody practices. But this Arto Arthayati Jigyasu, especially these refer to Mishra Bhakti because they are practiced with that intention to attain free from distress or to attain wealth, as in the case of Dhruva Maharaj or Gajendra. That's why they are called as Karma Mishra Bhakti. So anyone who is in mixed devotion, by coming in the association of devotees and taking up to practice of Rupa Goswami's definition of Shuddha Bhakti, he has now a Vaidhi Sadhaka and is practicing Sadhana Bhakti. By practice of Sadhana Bhakti, ultimately that Sadhana Bhakti will fructify into Bhava Bhakti, and that falls in the category of Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti. Okay, is it clear, Surikund Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Any other questions anyone has? Okay, so we'll stop here. So next week we will now take a very important theme, that is rejection of Bhakti and Mukti. And then Rupa Goswami, after that, will start discussing the 64 limbs of devotion. What is an Anga and what are the 64 limbs of devotion? This is the most important theme in Vaidhi Sadhana, because the more we practice these limbs of devotion, the more our Sadhana Bhakti will mature and we'll be able to advance to higher stages of Bhakti. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.